Hello, Mr. Umansky. My name's Chris Bennett, and this is a presentation to you in Paris Hilton to create a special project to fulfill my missions. And Paris, she's got some amazing missions. And so I've got a plan to bring it together and create some rapid success for her in her mission. Her critical two missions are she's interested in the secret answer to healing from traumatic experiences. And also, she wants to help all the kids that are stuck in abusive situations in the dysfunctional mental health care system, and they're currently getting abused. So, I read your fantastic book, and there's some ideas in here which are quite relevant to her mission. I see at the time that she went into that facility, you had just gotten married. And this is a fantastic book, by the way. Very interesting. I read the whole thing. I just bought it yesterday. Your mom was a marriage and family therapist. That is the cure for post-traumatic stress. So 20 years ago, I did a huge amount of research into the subject at UCLA. I ended up copying hundreds and hundreds of studies, and I found out that from Dr. Charles Figley, he's the top expert in the world, one of the creators of the concept. Burnout in Families, this is one of his books. I flew out to Florida after 9/11, met him in person, and said, "You are the top expert in the world on this subject, and I need your help to share what the cure is with the world because you know what it is, and everybody in my family has it, and they're not getting it through the medical system. All they're getting is a bunch of bad drugs, just like the kids who are in abusive situations who are getting bad drugs." So the fact is, I've been working on fixing the problem for 20 years, specifically 20 years. The big start was, and this is the direct connection to Paris's mission, 2003, I contacted Bar McClellan. His two sons were working in the White House. Scott McClellan was the press secretary under Bush, and Mark McClellan, Dr. Mark McClellan from Stanford, was the director of Health and Human Services, I think, and then the FDA. Two different jobs in the top agencies. So I contacted him regarding my dad's book, Dr. Dean Ornish, who a lot of the answers for these health problems and part of the cure for post-traumatic stress is in his book right here. So I've had the idea of bringing them all together, creating a national mission to get everybody healthy. And part of the puzzle was Carol Keaton Strayhorn. She was the comptroller of Texas. And in 2003, she came out with the Forgotten Children Report, which was all about the kids who are getting abused and overdrugged in the foster care system. It's one of the branches of that dysfunctional system that Paris got sucked into. So Dr. Figley says family therapy is the cure. And because the families get broken by traumatic stress, and the only way to heal the individual is to heal the family. And that's what Paris is not getting. She's getting drugs, amphetamines, because a bunch of quacks have misdiagnosed her as having ADHD, which has the exact same symptoms as post-traumatic stress. I've contacted many experts who created the concept, and they all agree, and they've said it over and over themselves. So we have a number of things in common. It's interesting. You went to the American school in Mexico City. I went to the American school in Guadalajara in the 1970s. I'm 1/4 Mexican. My family, I've got a lot of family there. One of my uncles is the former ambassador for Mexico to Singapore and Japan. And another cousin, Sepromex, is one of the biggest private security companies in Mexico. It's in Guadalajara. You can read all about it. Here's the good news. So my family members have 2,000 acres in Guadalajara they want to develop into a resort. And my cousin asked me to develop the health program because my father was the founding medical director of the longest profitable healthy living program in the world, the Pritikin Longevity Center, which is now in a Trump-owned hotel on Miami Beach. So remarkably, my dad wrote this book in how to control your high blood pressure without drugs, endorsed by professors at Harvard and Stanford and the University of Texas. And Norman Cousins, I'll get to him in a minute. So remarkably, there's a place called, before Sea-Doo, there was Synanon, and their headquarters was on the beach in Santa Monica. And after they got shut down by the FBI for doing a whole bunch of bad stuff, like almost killing somebody, then they got kicked out. And then my dad came in with an investor, and the investor bought the hotel and turned it into the Pritikin Longevity Center. Isn't that weird? And those criminals just scattered around, no consequences. Nobody followed them. So the FBI, which fucks up beyond anything you can imagine repeatedly, just doesn't monitor these things, and they still don't to these days. So even before Paris Hilton went there, my understanding that there was this crazy psychopath doctor that was on the staff, and he was being investigated because he was connected to a serial killer. So the FBI knew what was going on there, and they didn't do anything before she got there. That needs to get fixed, okay? Because even this stuff's still going on today, and all they're doing is chasing down people for like mediocre stuff that happened 20 years ago and is impossible to prove. That's in another video. But let me go through a few more critical things here. So there's like my family down in Mexico, they got a quality, which is cousins are like brothers. Whereas in the United States culture, brothers are like strangers. Cousins are like strangers often. So what you're experiencing, I think, in your family is that phenomenon. So unfortunately, it's just about being blunt about, people have their issues, and we want to find out the answer to them and make everything better. So nothing wrong with that. So I appreciate the honesty in your book. You got a lot of, honest, just sharing what happened in your life, and you're looking for answers. So what happened, Paris's dad, he's got a problem of having a hard heart. And that's why he turned Paris away. Paris got right to him and said, "I'm being abused. Please, Dad, don't send me back there." And he sent her right back. They came to drag her away in handcuffs, and the parents watched that and didn't say, "Holy crap." Okay, they watched her get abused right in front of them. If somebody took your daughter and said, "Wow, she needs therapy, we're going to strap her against the wall in handcuffs." Oh, okay, that was exactly what happened. They dragged her away in handcuffs. Okay, cold heart. And 10 years later, it was still cold as hell, and that's why he couldn't connect with you. But on the other hand, it turned into a phenomenal opportunity, and you really did some phenomenal stuff out of that. But Paris needs a cure, and that's her whole family cured. So I'm creating an event. Got a couple things to share with you. I'm creating an event at the Grand Canyon. I'm working with Kiowa Gordon's family. Kiowa Gordon's whole family. They all need healing. Okay, they're super traumatized. His brother just got put in jail for a drug offense, just like Paris, which is really a crime in itself. And so we're pulling together a team. We're going to do an event at the Grand Canyon regarding revealing and talking all about the cure for post-traumatic stress and toxic stress overload, which I found out 95% of Americans have, because a symptom of that is hypertension. 95% of Americans get hypertension as they get older. Proof.